Uprising. This is the Uprising podcast. I'm Pac, and I'm joined by Adam Lumley. What's going on?
Man, nothing much. Crazy week in politics. We're going to be recapping what happened this week briefly. It's going to be a little shorter show than normal. So, Pac, you doing all right, man?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. You know, they told my girl she can come back to work, and she went up there for like a new kind of training for the restaurant, so they can still practice social distancing while serving food, which is a new thing to me. But so you know, it's I don't know. I'm really not sure how to feel.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't know how to feel either. But yeah, so this week I wanted to talk about Trump and the Bleach saga and how stupid that comment was. Some people is blown out of proportion in my eyes, and of course his supporters completely saying that he didn't say that, and just like can't accept the fact that their dear leader said something stupid. That's one thing I want to talk about. Most of the show is going to be about Tara Reid, the whole allegations against Joe Biden, and the Blue MAGA just completely washing it away and not believing it. And there's sheer hypocrisy with that, comparable to the Dr. Ford situation with Kavanaugh. So that's going to be mostly what we talk about. We're going to briefly talk about this crazy dude harassing Bernie, telling him he needs to get back into the race. Like that, I don't know if you all seen that video or not, but I'm not going to give him any credence, but I do want to surely talk about that. And that's about all, really.
All right. Well, let's get into it.
All right. So last Friday, Trump did his daily propaganda newsletter, essentially, his press conference. And he, that's the thing about, especially people that are not as intelligent, which what Trump is, they ask stupid questions. And the people that they don't understand the issues, they'd ask questions a lot of the times kind of stupid, which to a degree is fine, but if you're going to do that in the public, that's not acceptable. And knowing Trump and his administration, this is not the first time he's ever brought it up, and they probably told him not to bring it up in the news conference, and he still did that. So if you're not aware, he suggested using like UV lights to go somehow inside the body, which I don't understand what he's even meaning by that. Which that was so stupid. But he just
is that why I couldn't find any UV lights when I went to Walmart? They bought them all up.
And he just topped himself with the whole disinfected bleach thing. Oh, you can inject yourself with bleach. Let's see if that would work.
And you think if we put it in the lungs, if we can somehow put the light in the lungs, I think that'll do it. It's so ridiculous. And then I've heard some of his supporters, backpedaling. Yeah. He wasn't serious. He was just joking.
Yeah, and that's what he said. Essentially, he was joking.
And to that, I'm like, it's a crisis. We've got, I don't know, almost a quarter of a million deaths in the world.
Yeah,
behind Corona. So
60,000.
This is a good time to work on some new material. Let's try a joke here.
Yeah, well, that's the problem though. So he doesn't have his propaganda Trump rallies that he can just throw everything out and no one's gonna give him anything hell for it. He pretty much just throws things against the wall. It is kind of like a comedian when they're practicing the routines. He just like, oh, I'm gonna say that. Well, does that get a good response? Does that work? Yeah, I'm gonna keep that. Oh, that didn't get a good response. I'm not gonna keep that.
And we're going to take out the bleach part and we're going to change it with UV light.
Yeah. I mean, it was ridiculous. Some people are like absolutely losing their minds. Like, this is like the stupidest thing he's ever said, which you can argue. But
Yeah, but this is the thing. Like, out of all the stupid things that he have come out of his mouth,
yeah,
this isn't even the worst one. And I feel
Mm-mm.
like if they're gonna accept all the stupid stuff that comes out of his mouth, then he's been saying stupid stuff for the last 4 years. Well, arguably before then, but
yeah,
um, it's crazy that he goes from saying hydroxychloroquine, like we go from the medication for lupus
yeah,
that can blow your heart up,
yeah.
and them saying, okay, like you can't talk about that anymore. What can I? Well, it takes disinfectant, takes it off the surface, right? Well, I'm gonna just say, just take disinfectant. So, and then a lot of my liberal friends are like, so there's gonna be a whole bunch of super right wing Republicans injecting bleach and UV lights into their system. I don't see the problem.
I mean, I have a problem. I don't want people killing themselves.
No, of course not. Of
Yeah,
course
okay.
not. Of course not.
Just want to give that clarification. No one.
Yes, I'm kidding.
Okay. I knew you were kidding, but you know how people.
Yeah,
are.
it's hard to pick up. It's hard to pick up on a podcast, I guess.
Yeah, it's sarcasm. So that was really stupid. This just his supporters like, he didn't say that, man. Like, yeah, he did. Or he didn't say drink bleach.
Yeah, he didn't say drink bleach.
Which technically he didn't say that, but it's implied. Like,
implying getting if we could somehow get the bleach into our system. Yeah, like it's
your impression's a lot better than mine. I'm pretty good when it comes to Bernie, but I'm not great at Trump. So yeah, that's pretty much all I want to talk about. Trump's an idiot. He needs to stop saying stupid shit like that.
And as a public service notice, please
don't do that.
Do not try to inject bleach into your system, and do not try to find a way to get a UV light into your system. I just see people like trying to shove lights up their ass.
No, I don't think a person would even have the intelligence that would even try to do that, be able to figure that out. So I don't think you need to worry about that. But the bleach, on the other hand, please don't do that.
It's very accessible.
Yes, please don't do that. But that's all I got to say about that. So the main story of this show is the Tara Reid sexual allegation, sexual assault that allegedly Joe Biden did to her when she was a secretary, when he was a senator in 1993. So if you're not aware of that, she worked for him in the 90s as a secretary. In 1993, she alleges that he threw her up against the wall, or pushed her up against the wall, and sexually penetrated her without her consent, which is rape. If you're not aware, I would hope you would be aware. And so, two sides of people, or we got two sides in the Democratic Party right now. We got the progressives that are enraged, which they should be, and pretty much in the boat that we're not voting for a rapist, and they're not going to vote for Joe Biden now. And then you got the blue MAGA people, call them blue MAGA, because the voters that we want Joe Biden, or people like that, are the people who just want to go back to the Obama years. So the blue Make America Great Again people, and what I'm talking about, they're trying to just deny it, say that didn't happen, and just doing everything, the mental jujitsu, to say that this didn't happen. And we had the mainstream media didn't even report it for about a month and a half. Barely said anything about it. Now they're starting to sort of report it now. And they're Chris Hayes last night. If you don't know who Chris Hayes is, he's actually one of the better ones on MSNBC. He briefly talked about it. And, of course, the blue MAGA people gave him all types of hell for it. Actually trying to be a journalist for once. And the main go-to thing for the dim establishment right now is they are reciting a article written by the New York Times, essentially saying these are not true and these claims are false. And of course, they didn't give a editor's note that they took out something that was initially in. What they took out, which was from the Joe Biden campaign, they called the manager. They were Karens in this situation. The New York Times found no pattern of sexual misconduct by Mr. Biden beyond the hugs, kisses, and touching that women previously said made them uncomfortable. That was initially in the article, and they removed that, and they didn't say anything about it. So I don't take people that do those type of things and don't disclose that credible in my eyes. And I do believe Tara Reid. And I do believe Dr. Ford, her allegations against Brett Kavanaugh. When it comes to the Me Too thing for me is I don't believe anyone, but I do take women seriously. Initially, I don't believe anyone initially, but I do take women seriously, and more likely they're telling the truth than the man in the situation, because usually the women have more to lose and they have really nothing to gain. So normally I do take women's claims seriously, but I don't believe them just blankly. So I need evidence, and this is a lot of evidence. You had her telling her mom about this, telling her brother about this, her brother refuting the claims and saying that this is what she told her. Her mother went on Larry King, called into Larry King. I think like in the 2000s or
it was the same. It was like 93.
Okay.
So like 93 she called in.
She called Larry King show to ask him for his advice about her daughter having a sexual encounter, like a sexual encounter with a senator, and saying that no one's taking her seriously. What should we do about it? And that was Tara Reid's mom. She now, unfortunately, she's dead now, so she can't refute the claims. But Tara Reid said that it was her mother, and I mean, you can have evidence. You can have evidence to point that out. That's true. So we have that, and we have Tara Reid's neighbor saying that these are true. She, her neighbor said that Tara Reid confided in her, saying that sexual assault happened with Joe Biden, and her neighbor said that this was true. Her neighbor's not some Russian conspiracy person. She's a strong Democrat, and she said she's still going to vote for Joe Biden. So that pretty much shoots that out of the water. So, it's just a really frustrating situation. I'm going to read a Rose McGowan post she did yesterday, but I want to get Pac's opinion right quick.
Oh man, well, let's see. As far as like, I definitely believe that women have a right to be heard. I think that I initially don't believe anything anybody tells me, but I want to trust that they're telling me the truth.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not always the case. When it's a sexual assault allegation, I think that women need to be heard, and we need to hear the evidence. If they're going to be brave enough to come forward, then we need to be brave enough to help them get to the truth so that they can have some relief. And I don't think that it matters how long ago it happened. You know what I mean? That's all I hear everyone saying. 30 years ago, blah, 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 blah. Like, really? Does it matter if it was your mother or your sister? Does it matter when they were sexually assaulted?
Yeah.
It's not on you to come out for them. It's on them to get the strength to come forward. And when they do come forward, it's on you to back them up. It's crazy that we have this comparison right now. We have Trump, who obviously has way more allegations.
It's like 20, I believe. Probably more than that.
And then Biden, who has allegations. Now, I'm not saying, that whole lesser of two evil bullshit is still evil, man. So it's like, I think that I do think that the Me Too movement is a good movement. I don't think that Nancy Pelosi should be speaking on it because she doesn't care about any of this stuff.
No.
But I think it's a good movement. I think women should be heard. Let's hear the facts, and discrediting women automatically when they do come forward with sexual assault allegations, to me, is evil, man.
Yeah.
Because you never know, and until you know, how can you judge?
And that's the problem, though. That's why the talk about the point you made previously about, well, it's been 30 years. Well, until recently, I give credit to the Me Too movement, no one was taking women seriously, not to a point that it should be.
No.
So I got to give credit to that, and I'm just really frustrated about the whole situation because, unfortunately, now it kind of destroys the credibility of the Me Too movement because Tara Reid did go to them to try to get them to represent her. And they said no because it would mess with their charity status or whatever. I don't fully remember what exactly their excuse was, but that was nonsense, complete bullshit.
Yeah,
they just didn't want to go against Joe Biden because one of their top people at the time, his friend, was in Joe Biden's campaign. So just complete corruption. These allegations are more credible in my eyes than even Dr. Ford's allegations. With Dr. Ford, people didn't remember certain things that she was talking about, and she didn't remember certain things either. Tara Reid, on the other hand, she's just everything. Like, really, like, this is, like, I think really solid in my eyes.
Yeah, a lot of people knew about it then. And, I mean, her neighbor, her mother, her brother that said at the time he didn't believe her and it was a mistake.
Mm-hmm. And her mom fully on believing her and saying that she needed to do even more than she was doing. Tara Reid angry with her mother for even calling into Larry King.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then even the piece that they took out of the Times. Can we break that down?
Yeah.
Let's see here. So this is so crazy. The Times found no pattern of sexual misconduct by Mr. Biden, beyond hugs, kisses, and touching that women previously said made them uncomfortable. So let's just say he didn't. Let's just say for an instant that the penetration assault allegations weren't real. Okay, let's just say that all we know is that he hugs, kisses, and touches women that previously makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means it doesn't make them uncomfortable anymore, but it made them uncomfortable then. So you're trying to tell me that somebody who does this kind of stuff all the time, hugs, kisses, and touches women that makes them uncomfortable, wouldn't go a step further at some point? Like, you're already too touchy and feely with everybody. Yeah. So is it too crazy to think that he at one point in time he might do more than he was supposed to, and this could happen? It's not to me. I think that just this previously said that made them uncomfortable is really what's messing with me, because like if that kind of rhetoric, that kind of stuff he was doing before is definitely the kind of behavior that would lead to a sexual assault. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it gives us credibility to the allegations as well, because it's a pattern.
Right. And so they're like, nope, take that out. Don't even say it was in there. Well, now we're talking censorship and journalism, man.
Mm-hmm. And
that's a big problem, because
you can argue the biggest media paper media there is, with the New York Times.
Right.
People,
the top dogs.
People take their word more seriously than pretty much anyone else when it comes to more left perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it's really frustrating. Like I'm just saying that again because it is. And I'm about to read Rose McGowan's thing that she said about this whole situation recently, and I got to give her a lot of credit. She was instrumental in taking down Harvey Weinstein, and she's been a really great when it comes to just being an activist when it comes to this issue. If you don't know who Rose McGowan is, she's an actress. She was in that one Quentin Tarantino movie, that Grindhouse, and she's been in other things.
Oh yeah.
So this is what she said. She had it in the notes and she tweeted it, I believe, last night. So this is what she said. I used to be a proud Democrat. I used to be a proud America. I would have died for this damn country and its ideals. I was raised to be a proud Democrat. When my youngest brother graduated as a fighter pilot at the Air Force Academy, I wore a vote John Kerry pin, LOL. I got into verbal altercations with big men who were mad I was a Democrat. They were twice my size and had to listen to G.W. Bush give his keynote address and John Ashcroft sing his terrible Eagle song. I lost count of GWB saying terrorism at 47 because that's what cult leaders do, and it gets boring. All because I thought democracy meant was I had a right to choose those who lined up with my value system. But if there's no one, and I was always told the Democratic Party that they were the good guys, that our papers, the New York Times and the Washington Post, and we as a family listened to All Things Considered, and we talked about how much we loved IRA Glass. I don't know what that is, voice. But I know now too much, and I have a real quiet sense of loss. I really thought, I have a sense of loss, sorry. Should change the page. I'm not a critical person, but cynical person, I mean. But America, goddamn it. Republicans have always been painted as the bad guys, and I always thought that they were more of a cult. But now I realize that so are the Democrats, and the media are as well. This is deeper than a cover up, and I'm sad because there's death around all corners and shadows in the daytime. It hurts. Which I kind of feel the same way, honestly.
Yeah.
Not as much as she's when it comes to the Democrats, good guys, Republicans, bad guys, and one of the missions with this podcast for me is to get the message out that yes, there's a lot of Republicans that are really bad, evil people. Unfortunately, the Democrats are the same.
We definitely have them working against us.
And they're just not as extreme with their views.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. There's light and good can always defeat the evil, but the people that are good have to stand up against the evil.
Right.
And I really salute Mrs. McGovern, Rose, for doing that, standing up, because she's going to get a lot of hell for saying that. And she's gotten a lot of hell for a lot of things she said. Yeah. And I love the consistency because Melissa Milano, I mean, like, she's just completely been ridiculous with this.
You're right.
Situation. She was one of the big people when it came to Dr. Ford's allegations against Kavanaugh, and she essentially saying that she doesn't believe Tara Reid.
It's because they don't want to believe. Because right now that they've got their backs against the wall, they've got Joe Biden is their only option.
Yeah,
and so They're like, nope, we're not going to
Cheating.
believe it. We're not going to believe it. We have to get Trump out. They're so focused on getting rid of Trump, which wouldn't even been a thing if Bernie was the nominee. We would be focused on changing this country and making it better for us people. And I think that, and I don't criticize celebrities when they use their platform. That's what you're supposed to do. When you've got a voice that people will listen to, you're supposed to speak up for the people that nobody will listen to.
Yeah.
And so Alyssa Milano, hey, I love you, girl, but you're out of your mind.
The worst part about that is she's friends with Joe Biden. She's been friends with him for like 15 years. So
yeah.
And that's the other issue when it comes to this situation. People say, well, he's never done anything, those type of things to me before. Not just Joe Biden, but in general. Well, that doesn't matter though.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Maybe he's a good person with you doesn't mean he can do evil acts with other people.
Right.
So I think that's ridiculous. Stacey Abrams, if you don't know.
Stacey.
You don't know who she is. She ran for governor in 2018, unfortunately lost, which I don't think she, quotation marks, lost against their idiot governor they have now. There's a lot of voting suppression and fuckery when it comes to that. And but yeah, I thought she was a progressive, but unfortunately she's
not.
She's a grifter. She took money from Bloomberg and didn't say anything about his racist past and racist comments.
Because she's been paid not to.
Because she took money for her the voting thing to get more voting things, and she was quiet with that, and now she's completely. She wants to be VP, so she's selling her soul for that, and she's essentially said that. She didn't directly say that, but she's essentially saying that she doesn't believe Tara Reid and Joe Biden wouldn't do those things. And it's just frustrating about that as well. You know, with progressives, we got to be very vigilant when it comes to lionizing these people, because a lot of them will turn your back on them when they have the opportunity.
Yeah.
And I mean, Nancy Pelosi this morning saying she doesn't believe it. She's a strong component of Me Too, and she's standing with Joe Biden.
To me, that sounds like it contradicts itself. Like it's I'm part of I support the Me Too movement, and I believe Joe Biden.
Yeah,
like that to me, that doesn't go together.
No, those don't equal out. And so yeah, we have a huge issue now. And are they going to replace Joe Biden? I doubt it.
You don't think so?
They might, though. Honestly,
to be honest with you, I thought that they were going to replace him before this.
Yeah,
I thought, he's not. He's up there. He can't barely talk. Yeah. Nobody's talking about his. I mean, mainstream media wasn't talking about his mental decline. Yeah. And I thought, you know what they're going to do? They're going to wait till Bernie drops out. Then they're going to say, okay, Joe is not feeling too well. So what we're going to do, and then they're going to choose probably one of the women that dropped out, Amy Klobuchar, or, and that's what I thought they were going to do before these allegations started, coming back out. Which I didn't even know about. I mean, 93, I was 13. I wasn't into politics and definitely didn't know about Joe Biden. But going back,
I did child, so I didn't know that it was.
Yeah, I did go back and watch the Larry King thing with the mother calling in, and I mean it's on YouTube. I mean, if you're listening, go check it out and listen to the mother. She doesn't say Biden's name, but you can definitely tell that it's her daughter she's talking about, and her daughter was working for Joe Biden. So
And let's say, even if the sexual rape allegations are not true, there's still mountains of evidence that he's done inappropriate things. So do you really want to put that against Trump? That's the
Yeah.
thing, dude. Like the Trump supporters don't give a shit about that, and the Republicans don't believe in hypocrisy, so they're going to eat Biden alive when it comes to that, and they're just going to keep on pounding on him with that, and his mental decline and his shitty, terrible record, and like I said on a previous podcast, the establishment could have picked a worse candidate.
Yeah.
Klobuchar is better in my eyes. She's a fighter. Kamala Harris is better. Honestly, she was in my top 5 until she dropped out. If she was the nominee, I'll vote for her. I mean, I don't really like her, but she's better than Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden.
Yeah.
She's definitely better than Trump. It's just, I don't know what they're doing. Like I said last week again, the dem establishment is terrible at politics. They just truly are.
Yeah.
And
And the media, I mean, and the media helps. The media helps them with their narrative, because if this was if this was Bernie or a progressive candidate that had allegations,
oh my God,
we wouldn't hear the end of it. But it's Joe Biden. So look, like you said, for a month they didn't report on it.
mm-hmm.
They had the information a month ago. Let's be honest with
Yeah.
they had the information. They were told to sit on it as long as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And they had 30 days, and now it comes out, and they're still suppressing it, man. It's like they have this big story on something horrible Trump did, and they jump in, they say, allegations are we have some more allegations on Joe Biden. Now let's check in with the weather.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, we're not going into details.
And if you're not aware, Ryan Grimm, he's an amazing journalist, he was one of the first people to report this. And he was the first person to report the Dr. Ford allegations as well. Of course, the Dem establishment and the media loved him then, and they hate him now because he's actually honest and does his job. So,
yeah.
I don't know, man. We can talk about that more in detail of what are we going to do when it comes to Joe Biden, voting wise and everything. But we're kind of running out of time. I wanted to touch on the crazy dude that's harassing Bernie Sanders about trying to get back in the race. I'm not going to tell the dude, I'm not going to name the guy because he's irrelevant. I just think he's just doing this for attention. But if you're not aware, he did this earlier in the week. He went outside Bernie Sanders' home and he had a big old microphone and kept on telling Bernie to unadore us and get back in the race. Now, I do personally do want him to do that to a degree. I don't know how much that would work. At the bare minimum, I think he needs to unadore us. I think that would put a lot of pressure on the Dem establishment to start looking for a different nominee. So you got effective strategies, and then you got strategies that are crossing the line, and that's crossing the line. You don't go to people's homes, anyone really, especially someone that you love and really support, and harass them essentially. Like,
no,
there's better ways to do that, and that's not a way. So please don't do that. This
very, very stupid. Very stupid to do that. And I would argue that it's probably not even a Bernie supporter. I don't know the guy just from watching it. I find that the most of the Bernie supporters that I talk to are pretty intelligent, and to do something like that. Now, I know people might have been disappointed with some of the things that happened in his campaign. I was too.
Which we've been.
The way to voice that is when there is a town hall, or when these politicians are doing public speeches, then you show up, then you protest, then you speak up, then you use your megaphone. Okay.
Yeah.
Going to their houses, that's unacceptable, man.
Yeah.
And it's not something that progressives do.
His wife doesn't have anything to do with his politics. Like, you're harassing him as well. You're harassing possibly his kids there at the time, or his grandkids. Like, please don't do that.
Yeah. Don't do it.
Yeah. Like, please don't do that. So we're about to wrap it up. We just got a report. Briefly going to talk about. Just got a report that the unemployment's at 30 million now.
Woo.
Yeah, pretty bad. And unfortunately, it's not going to get better in my eyes. Maybe we start reopening, and it's gonna. I don't know how that's going to work. Of course, some people are going to get their jobs back, like Pac's wife. She might get her job back, but a lot of people are not going to be fortunate like that. It's because a lot of businesses are closing down, and one of the things that people are not talking about, which I think is going to happen, is not everyone's going to come out. And what these businesses are hoping for is kind of get back to normal, but unfortunately, it's going to be a while till we get back to. I don't think we're ever going to get back to the normal we had. I think the new normal is going to be a lot different from what we had, and I think it's going to be a little bit before we even get back to the new normal. So I don't know, man. Stock market doesn't really indicate that we're in the worst financial crisis we've ever had because the Fed keeps on pumping a ton of money into it. We don't really have time to go over all that, the big issues I have with the Fed and just willy-nilly giving this zombie economy life support. And they've been doing that for pretty much Trump's whole administration almost. But that's pretty much all I got to say. We got to get going, but appreciate you all listening. You have anything else to say, Pac?
Yeah, thanks for coming and listening to the Uprising podcast, y'all. We will have a Patreon up soon where we'll have some kind of like post games where we're just talking and shooting the shit.
Yeah.
So be sure to check that out. Share the channel, subscribe, like, comment. We want to hear y'all's comments. Come on with it. And thank y'all for joining us.